A French charter jet is grounded on a rain-slicked runway tonight. President Emmanuel Macron has officially intervened in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and the word his government is using is not inconvenience, not complaint, sabotage. State medical councils have delivered documented evidence that FIFA built a travel schedule so deliberately punishing for European teams that it constitutes a systematic assault on sporting equity. A 24-hour ultimatum is on Gianni Infantino's desk right now. This is not a negotiation over hotel rooms. This is the president of France telling the most powerful sporting body on earth, restructure this tournament, or we walk out permanently. Under the finalized round of 16 scheduling architecture, France was assigned a knockout fixture that required the entire national squad, players, medical staff, coaching team, and support personnel to relocate across a travel corridor spanning over 3,000 miles between their current training hub and their designated match stadium. The transit window between the end of their previous match and the mandatory pre-match stadium arrival for the knockout fixture was calculated by the French medical team at 54 hours. That 54-hour window includes flight time, time zone crossing, ground transport, hotel check-in, and the sleep and nutritional recovery protocols that elite sports medicine requires before a player can safely compete at maximum physical output in a single elimination match. The French Medical Council's assessment was unambiguous. It cannot be done without statistically significant physical compromise to the squad's peak performance capacity. Now compare that to the travel reality of France's designated knockout opponent. Their schedule placed them in a geographically stable regional corridor, a transit distance of under 400 miles, a single time zone, and a 72-hour recovery window that the same French Medical Council identified as comfortably within the parameters for full physical readiness. The same tournament, the same round, the same date, one team traveling 3,000 miles in 54 hours, the other traveling 400 miles in 72 hours. That is not a scheduling inconvenience. That is a documented, measurable, medically quantified competitive disadvantage. And somebody inside FIFA's scheduling infrastructure built it into the bracket. When the French Medical Council produces documented data showing that their travel assignment creates a statistically significant physical disadvantage compared to their knockout opponent's schedule, and both schedules were produced by the same FIFA administrative system, is that a coincidence or a calculation? The moment the travel disparity data landed on the desk of France's sports ministers, it stopped being a football problem and became a state problem. And the speed with which the French government moved from internal briefing to presidential intervention tells you exactly how seriously Paris is treating what the scheduling data is showing them. Within hours of the round of 16 bracket locking, the French Sports Ministry convened an emergency closed-door session that included state medical advisors, diplomatic council, and representatives of the French Football Federation. The session produced a formal medical brief, signed by the State Sports Science Council, documenting the specific physiological consequences of executing a 3,000-mile transit within a 54-hour recovery window for an elite squad already carrying cumulative fatigue from multiple high-intensity knockout phase matches. The brief was delivered directly to President Macron that evening. The presidential response was immediate and unmistakable. President Emmanuel Macron authorized the Élysée Palace to deliver a formal ultimatum directly to FIFA headquarters in Zurich, bypassing the normal channels of sporting governance and instead using France's official diplomatic mission to Switzerland. The message carried a strict 24-hour deadline and two firm demands. Either FIFA would immediately restructure France's round of 16 travel schedule to provide a recovery period comparable to that of its opponent, or it would commission an independent audit of the entire knockout scheduling process. If neither condition was met, France warned it would ground its charter aircraft, refuse to travel, forfeit its round of 16 match, and withdraw from the tournament altogether. The decision to halt the team's charter flight before FIFA had even received the ultimatum demonstrated the seriousness of France's position. It suggested that Paris was prepared to accept the sporting consequences rather than compete under what it considered unfair conditions. If such an extraordinary confrontation were ever to occur, it would represent a remarkable escalation. raising questions about whether a World Cup scheduling dispute had evolved beyond football into an international political and diplomatic confrontation. Across the round of 32 and into the round of 16, the average intermatch travel distance logged by European teams competing in this tournament is 2.7 times greater than the average logged by host nation and North American teams across the identical phase of competition. The average recovery window, the time between final whistle and mandatory arrival at the next match venue, is 19 hours shorter for European squads than for their North American counterparts. These are not marginal statistical variances. They are consistent, directional, and cumulative, building across every round to produce a measurable physical degradation in the squads that FIFA's own commercial frameworks depend on for premium broadcast value. Elite sports medicine is not ambiguous about what these numbers mean in practice. Every hour of unnecessary transit time in the 72-hour window before a high-intensity competitive fixture represents a measurable reduction in the physical recovery metrics that determine sprint capacity, muscular endurance, and injury resistance. A squad arriving at a knockout match 19 hours less recovered than their opponent is not competing on equal terms. They are competing at a physiological deficit, one that was designed into their schedule by the administrative body that is simultaneously profiting from their participation. If the scheduling data shows that European teams are consistently assigned travel corridors that are 2.7 times longer, with recovery windows 19 hours shorter than their opponents, and the body responsible for those assignments is also the body responsible for the commercial value those European teams generate, who was that scheduling system actually designed to protect? Inside the corporate boardrooms of the networks and sponsors that have committed billions to this tournament, the Macron intervention has triggered a financial panic unlike anything the sports business world has previously experienced, because the commercial contracts underwriting World Cup 2026 were not written to accommodate the possibility of a French forfeit. The French national team is the single most commercially valuable broadcast asset in this tournament after Argentina and Brazil. Their global fan base, spanning France, the French-speaking African diaspora, North Africa, Canada, and Europe broadly, represents a primetime audience pool worth billions in advertising activation. The broadcast packages sold against French knockout participation carry specific contractual value floors. If France forfeits, those floors collapse, instantly triggering penalty clause provisions across every major broadcasting and sponsorship agreement simultaneously. Corporate sponsors whose campaigns feature Kylian Mbappé in knockout round contexts, already shot, produced, and scheduled for broadcast, are facing immediate sunk cost losses with zero recoverable market value. Global sports apparel brands indexed to French advancement are activating emergency inventory reviews, and the FIFA Commercial Partnerships team in Zurich is fielding the same call from every major partner simultaneously. Is the forfeit real? The honest answer, as long as that jet sits on the runway, is yes. FIFA built the travel schedule. France is forfeiting because of the travel schedule. FIFA's own commercial architecture is now collapsing because of the travel schedule. That is not an external crisis. That is a self-inflicted institutional implosion. And the broadcasters already understand what the sponsorship teams are still calculating. A France forfeit does not just remove a team from the bracket. Under FIFA's tournament regulations, a forfeit results in automatic advancement for the opposing team, regardless of that team's commercial or audience value. The practical consequence of a French withdrawal from the round of 16 is that a lower-seeded, lower-market nation walks into the quarterfinals of the 2026 World Cup without kicking a ball in the knockout rounds. The quarterfinal fixture that should have featured France, one of the tournament's peak commercial and sporting draws, becomes a contest involving a team whose combined global viewership cannot generate a fraction of the prime-time advertising retention the networks have structured their schedules around. Inside Fox Sports production rooms, the numbers are catastrophic. A France forfeit collapses projected round of 16 audiences by 60% in European markets and 35% in North America simultaneously. Premium advertising slots sold at historic rates are now unsellable, and across every social platform, fan boycott movements are organizing in real time, supporters demanding full refunds and coordinated viewership blackouts. The French data is not a grievance. It is evidence. 3,000 miles, 54 hours, a state medical council's documented proof of measurable physical compromise, and a president who said no commercial contract is worth more than equal competition. The flight mutiny did not create this crisis. It simply made it impossible to ignore. Should FIFA overhaul the travel schedule or let Macron walk? Drop your verdict in the comments. Subscribe for real-time updates, and we will see you at the next file breakdown.